If I could have your attention as you continue to work on your meal. Hopefully you're in the dessert portion right now. Continue to do that, and we are going to begin our program. As you saw there on the videos, it's been another fantastic season for West Virginia University athletics, both on the fields, on the courts, and also in the classroom. And overseeing the operation of WVU is the athletic director. Would you please give a warm Charleston welcome to Shane Lyons.
I just heard Bob Huggins and he started laughing. I need to know what you said there, Bob. No, it's great to be with you all tonight. Again, this is, I believe, my fourth year coming to Charleston, and what Ben said, I do want to thank you for all that you do for our student athletes and the scholarships and that's provided to each one of them and what it means to our department to have that. You know, we talk about scholarships, and I had a chance to ride with Tony on the way down here just to let you all know those scholarships, how they help our student athletes. You know, roughly, as a department, we pay approximately about $10.5 million a year back to the university to support our student athletes and their scholarships. I've been talking to President Gee about that a little bit to make it a little bit lower, but haven't gotten anywhere on that. But our student athletes use these scholarships in a very proper way. Just this past fall, we haven't got the grades, of course, back for the spring yet, but the student athletes in totality, as a department as a whole, which is roughly 500 student athletes, had an overall GPA of a 3.16. We had 13 of our teams out of the 18 had a GPA over a 3.0. We had 11 student athletes, 54 student athletes that was named to the president's list with a perfect 4.0. We had 273 student athletes with a GPA of a 3.0 or higher, and 101 student athletes who were named to the dean's list with a 3.5 GPA or higher. So our student athletes are performing in the classroom. You'll have an opportunity. We had each and every year have student athletes who come down and enjoy this event, and want to thank you for what you do for WVU athletics. And obviously a lot of them are at your tables, and you have a chance to visit with them today, and we'll have an opportunity to meet with some of them later on tonight. But just to talk a little bit about what you've seen here on the screen in WVU athletics and the performance. Again, I think the videos speak for themselves of how our teams are competing at a very, very high level. Obviously, my job is to continue to help and provide resources to the coaches and student athletes to continue to compete at that high level. I'm blessed to have a lot of the coaches with me here today. I do want to introduce some of them, or all of them that are here, because a lot of times they don't get the recognition that they deserve and the work that they put in each and every day. So first of all, from cross country, track and field, Coach Sean Clary. I know I saw Sean down here. And Shelly Gallimore and Eric O'Reilly's with them. It's assistant coaches. Coach Dana Holgerson. Coach, I saw you come in here somewhere. Coach Holgerson's here. Along with them is Tony Gibson and Alex Hammond from the football staff. The one and only Bob Huggins is down here in front. We'll hear from Bob. Coach Huggins has Ronnie Everhart, James Long, Eric Martin, and Josh Eilert, and Jay Kuntz with him this evening. I will digress here when I think of Jay Kuntz, and when Tony's up here, you can ask Coach, and Coach will tell you the story about our trip to Boston when we had a little bit of smoke on the airplane. So all Coach said was press conference is Jay screamed like a Girl Scout, so I'll leave it at that. So that's a story in itself. With men's soccer, I believe assistant coach Nick Noble's here. Rowing, Jimmy King. Jimmy King's in the room along with Kim Gilmore, a rowing coach. Vic Riggs is here from swimming and diving. I think I saw Vic back here in the corner. Miha Lyzik from tennis, women's tennis is here, I believe, with us. And last year when I did this, I promised not to do it this year, but Reed Sunahar from volleyball and Becky Rudnick is with volleyball here. So Reed, I'll give you a double for this year. Women's basketball, Mike Carey. I saw Coach Carey here. Almost didn't recognize him. He was in a shirt and tie. So when you see him up here, we'll make sure that Chester Nichols, Chris Caldwell, and Pat Biondo is also with him from women's basketball. Coach Nikki Izzo Brown from women's soccer. And last but not least, our newest coaching staff, Tim Flynn from wrestling is with us, and his assistants, Cliff Moore and Mitchell Port, who joined us a couple weeks ago. I do want to recognize some of the administrative staff you talked to earlier. Ben Murray from our Mountaineer Athletic Club is with us. Terry Howes is with us, Matt Wells and Nate Zinn from our marketing staff, and Kelly Zinn, who's our Deputy Athletic Director, is with us as well. So thank them for what the job they do each and every day. Just in closing, again, I want to thank you for what you do for Mountaineer Athletics, the support you give us each and every day, not only in scholarship dollars, but in just fan support and helping our teams go far and far each and every year. You know, my goal as athletic director, and Coach Huggins always says it best, is we're not only playing for the university, but we're playing for the entire state. And we don't take that job lightly, and our student athletes are very well represented across the board, and we want to make you all as proud as fans and citizens of this great state of West Virginia. So thank you all for being here tonight, and let's go Mountaineers.
All right, part of this dinner each year is a little get-together up front here. And we are going to begin with our Coaches Roundtable. Please welcome up front the head basketball coach of the Mountaineers, Bob Huggins. Head football coach, Dana Holgerson. Women's basketball coach, Mike Carey. And soccer coach, Nikki Izzo Brown. So, how are we? Coach?
Hello.
How are you? Mic checks? Everyone well?
Good.
Yeah, good.
For the record, Shane, when you were speaking, that was Dana who walked in front of you.
You're starting already? So, where shall we begin? You guys look energetic and bouncy. Guys, it's an interview opportunity, question and answer, not a deposition. So let's put our smiley faces on. What's up, Mike?
I told President Gee that I don't think Coach Huggins got his joke. He was making fun of your weight when he said. I figured that went over his head, so I just went. He didn't get it. I'd say he still doesn't.
I got it. We were at the hotel today. And Mike had to relieve himself in the pool, and so he's standing there. And the manager of the Marriott came running out and started screaming at Mike about, urinating in the pool. Mike almost fell in.
That went above my head. That one.
You understand.
I tell you what, old boy, you save that one up. Can't wait to hear that in Wheeling, Parkersburg, Princeton, and Bluefield for the next month. It's good, though. It'll work. Hi, Nikki.
Off the top of my head, Tony, that's the best I can.
I understand. Nikki, congratulations once again on another fantastic season.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So let's jump in here on a couple. What do you pride to say something? What?
No, I just want to congratulate Nikki for being on time. This is the first time Nikki in how many is it, Dana? Probably 12 or 13 times that she's been here, and she actually was on time.
Jeez.
This afternoon I had a luncheon, and I was late by 20 minutes, and there were some really big donors. And the reason why I was late, because Huggins gave me directions, because he didn't want me to get there on time.
There you go.
They don't need to give any money to soccer. You're fine.
See, Greg, I would have sat next to you. He made that move today.
Hey, let's talk this. Transfer rule. Let's get into it.
Are you getting control again?
I'm getting
now?
control because I know how you work. Transfer rule. It's being discussed. What are you looking at? You know what I'm talking about.
He don't understand.
Listen, my guys, that's Mike. My guys don't transfer. That's Mike.
Mike just got
I
two
think
great
Mike, you
transfers.
I
should
just
take
got two.
Mike
great
just got
transfers.
two McDonald's All-American transfers. He'll take that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me ask you. We'll put it in this way. Nikki, currently, you do not have to sit out if you transfer in, and some folks may not know that. You can go right from one school to the other. Now it's being discussed for football, basketball as well. You know how the rule works. Does it lead to chaos in women's soccer? Does it impact you where you get worried roster-wise, or how's that going?
Not right now. It hasn't really affected us that much. I mean, I think it could potentially be a different culture in the other sports. We put a lot of time into recruiting, and we don't want to lose kids, too quickly to our opponents. But for women's soccer, it hasn't affected us as much.
Dana, what are your initial thoughts about it? And again, folks, the rule that's being talked about, nothing's final yet, but there's momentum that you literally could leave once during your career, and there's still trying to figure out the rules and the regulations. There's some talk of you must have a GPA of 3.0 or higher. Dana?
Yeah, I'm going to change the subject real quick. I've got some great young men in the audience here that I want to introduce. Dylan Tonkery is over here on this side. These are all good West Virginia kids that grew up in West Virginia, and they're representing the Mountaineer football family extremely well. Billy Kinney, our punter, is out here at some point. Billy's from University High School in Morgantown. Trayvon Wesco from Musselman. And Diamante Lindsay from Martinsburg High School as well. So those young men are all good, football players here in the state of West Virginia, which I've started to watch pretty closely, obviously, because my son is a high school athlete here in West Virginia, and I tell you, it's getting better and better. And we got a bunch of guys on our team right now that are doing wonderful things, and I just want to thank each and every one of y'all for being able to support the Mountaineers and provide scholarships to these young men to be able to fulfill their dreams.
And we had a Drew Bowen shout out there too, Dana, right?
That's right, G-Dub.
Yeah, absolutely. So as far as this transfer thing goes, like or dislike?
I thought I threw you way off track.
No. I'm sticking.
Well, here's what I like about transfers. I like when we get them, and I hate when we don't. I'm glad that we have got the likes of Clint Trickett, who is a grad transfer that worked out really well for us for 2 years. Skylar Howard came in as a junior college transfer and won a bunch of games for us. And then our current one, Will Greer, is a 4-year transfer that's working out just fine too. So as long as we're getting them, it's all good, But I do think, and I'm about to, next week we all go to Phoenix and we have these discussions. I haven't had these discussions with the powers to be to see if I'm going to like where it's at or not.
Coach Carey?
I just think it's going to be crazy. I think you're going to be shaking hands after a game saying, boy, he yelled at you a lot. Why don't you transfer to us? I just think it's crazy they don't at least have to sit out a year. So I'm not for it. I've heard GPA and that type of stuff also. But carrying on what Dana said, I also have Tiny Martin here. And where are you at, Tiny? Stand. Tyneese, great, was coming off a great year and then had the injury trying out for USA basketball. So we expect her to be back, has 2 more years for us at West Virginia. So I think she's just going to have continue to have a great career. So we're happy to have her back.
Coach Huggs, what are you thinking on this transfer rule?
I'm a little tired of student rights when they affect somebody else. So if we have a guy who's our best player and he wants to transfer to some other school, it affects 12 other guys. And I don't think that's right. I mean, I think there's got to be some deterrent from free agency. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
And not to be left out, but Chase Huller is here somewhere. Where's Chase?
Right over here, Huggs. Right here, Huggs. 2 up in the middle.
How'd you get such a good table? Brandon Napper's here, South Charleston's own. And anyone who wants Sagaba Kanate to come back for another year, please stand and applaud. Please stand and applaud. Yeah. It's unanimous, Sags. It's unanimous.
That kind of took care of that. Shane mentioned earlier, guys, that each year the department pays $10.5 million for scholarships. And these are the folks, as you guys well know, and Huggs, you oftentimes talk about the commitment and the love that Mountaineer fans have for the school and for their athletic teams. Put it into perspective for us, if you would, and we can start with you, Nikki. How important is it getting the funding, getting the support to keep these programs going?
Well, first I have to introduce my 2 athletes that are here. I'm going to be in big trouble, but I have a graduating senior, Heather Keohe, and Jade Gentile here. Hey, Heather. I always say your name wrong. So thanks for finding time in both of your evenings and afternoons. Words can't describe what the opportunity we have here at West Virginia. And I always talk about opportunity, and then you talk about passion. And I get to work with motivated student athletes every day who are very passionate. But without scholarship and the ability to recruit and recruit at a high level, there wouldn't be that passion or that opportunity. So it's just incredible the passion that West Virginians have for the Mountaineers and the opportunity that you give all of our student athletes. And I think passion is power, and we are a powerful state. And I thank you for this opportunity and the passion that you allow women's soccer, but also all our student athletes here. So thank you.
Dana, along that line, you have you've seen it happen. You've become fully acquainted, obviously, with this state, and a lot of physical plant things have gone on within the stadium. Construction has been a constant, in addition to the scholarships. What's it all mean to get the support like you have here?
Well, it means everything. It's absolutely critical. We recruit year round, and that's never going to change. We're going out recruiting sophomores. I mean, me and Nikki have talked about this a lot. She recruits 8th graders and 9th graders constantly. That's somewhat new to football, but it's actually happening. We're recruiting 9th graders, 10th graders to introduce them to West Virginia University, to introduce them to our brand of football, our brand, what the brand across the entire state is. And I've been fortunate to be able to be in this chair for going on 8 years now. I know it's a shock to a lot of people, especially you, Tony. Because I
seem like 8 days
listen
to me, Dana.
I listen to your afternoon radio every now and then, but it's been great to be here, and the longer we're here, the more that we understand what it's like to be a Mountaineer. That's first and foremost. And then it's up to us as a coaching staff to be able to relay that to our current players, and then for our current players to be able to relay that to our recruits. And going into 7 years in the Big 12, it's just a heck of a lot easier. It does come down to recruiting and having the necessary money and funding. And once again, thank you all so much for being donors to not just football, but WVU athletics and WVU in general. Can't do it without you. We're fortunate to be in a Power 5 conference. My first year here, we were not in a Power 5 conference. We are now. And 7 years into it, it's made a difference to be able to, just from a day-to-day operations, be able to show these kids something that it takes to be able to compete at the highest level possible. We open up with Tennessee. I don't know if anybody's interested in that game. That's going to be a fun one. Our third game is NC State, and then we play 9 other Big 12 teams that are all Power 5. So 11 of the 12 are real games, and we need to be able to have real facilities in order to be able to compete.
Thanks a lot. Mike, and thanks for listening. Mike, along that line,
You were one of the 3.
along that line, Mike, as you well know, as a West Virginian, the support that this state produces is truly amazing when you take a look at the population of 1.8 million people in comparison to who you guys play year in and year out within the league and outside of the league. What's it mean?
Well, it means everything. I've been a Mountaineer fan. I'm 59 years old, so I've been a Mountaineer fan for 59 years. So, I've always been here in West Virginia and always supported West Virginia University, so I'm very proud of that. Hopefully, if President Gee, I'll be for a few more years. But, it means everything. And everybody talks about the scholarships and that stuff, which is just great. But it's also the president and Shane gives great support staff in the academic department, where tutors and I've talked to other recruits and other people that have transferred where their academic services will shut down around 9 or 10 o'clock at night. One thing ours does, if they need help to 11, 12 o'clock at night, our people are over there. And that says exactly what our state's about. We're all here to help each other, make sure everybody's successful. And you all do a great job of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Coach Huggs.
I don't listen.
I know you don't.
I really want to have a good relationship with you, so I don't listen.
I'm very complimentary.
Thank you.
To all of you. All of you.
The 3. Where's the other 2 at?
What do you think? I mean, this was your dream to come back one day, and it is amazing. Dana said he's working toward 8 now, and 11 for you, and it is amazing how fast that goes by. Has it been everything you'd ever hoped for?
Well, Tony, I grew up in Doug Hill. President Gee, I'm sure you don't know where that is, but it's suburban Saverton. As we say back in the holla. Holla. They say holla in Saverton. I don't know what y'all say here in Charleston, but I sat on my grandfather's lap and listened to Mountaineer games. When we moved to Ohio, my dad would get up on the roof and change the antenna so that we could get to Willing-Steubenville Station and watch Fritz Williams and those great teams play. So even though we left the state for a period of time, we've always been Mountaineer fans. I started when I was at Cincinnati. I lost my mother to cancer, and we started an endowment for my mother when I was at Cincinnati here in West Virginia, because my mother grew up on 8th Street. If you go up 8th Street, first house on the left. That's where my mother grew up. So I've always cherished what we have here. I can't imagine any place else. I get so tired of that big blue stuff, you know. I mean, the last time I checked, Louisville was all right, you know, and they had a hard time getting in there. In this state, it's us, and we have a responsibility, and I tell my guys all the time, we have a responsibility not just to our team, not just to this university, but we have a responsibility to the state of West Virginia to represent this state and the people in this state in the form and fashion that they deserve to be represented. And they hear that from me all the time. And I believe that. And I'm so proud. I'm so happy that I can be the basketball coach at the place as, you know, a 6, 7-year-old kid, 5 years, I don't know what I was, sat on my grandfather's lap and dreamed about being a Mountaineer. Dreamed about being able to represent this state, and hopefully I can represent this state better as a coach than I did as a player, Tony.
Tony said that on his show also. I got to be honest.
You guys are bad. Last question. Give us a preview of next season, real quick, on each of you guys.
Well, we lost 4 pros, so we'll be a little bit inexperienced, but we sure are gonna fight and really upset some people. I don't think people are gonna realize we're gonna sneak up on them.
Good deal. Absolutely. Dana?
Well, we were fortunate not to lose 4 pros. They decided to come back. Can't wait to watch you play next year, Sags. You know I'm going to be on a trip.
I got to interrupt, Sags. I think you should be a goalkeeper. I've been telling you that. With those 2 hands that just come out of nowhere, man. I'm telling you. Barcelona would love you. In another year, of course.
Or DN. Or DN. No, but we're excited about it. I mean, nobody's happy with the way things ended last year. I can assure you our team isn't. So we've used it as motivation. We had 15 good practices in spring. You know, our team's in a really good place. You know, want to fast forward to September 3rd in Charlotte, North Carolina to play that Orange team real quick. And I know everybody's going to be there, and it should be a great start to a great season. We're going to start with that one and see where it goes from there.
Very good. Mike, as we said earlier on, you have done well here in this offseason already, recruiting-wise. You had, obviously, Tenise, who was out this past season. She'll be going this year. I would imagine very high expectations.
And after tonight, Sags, I think you ought to put a wig on and play for us, to be honest with you. And then we'll have a heck of a recruiting class. But, yeah, we're excited. I tell you what, I can't wait. I wish we started practice tomorrow. We'll get a lot of players back that were injured. We had a great recruiting class, and we been fortunate enough to get a couple great transfers. So we're really excited, and we're ready to get going.
Good deal. Hugs.
Suggs, you don't need a wig. He's loaded. I mean, if he doesn't win, Dr. Gee, you and I need to talk about the we had a pretty good recruiting class, and we're going to be young at guard, but I think we're going to be fine. We're playing probably the best schedule that we've played since I've been back, and we're looking forward to it. We just, you know, I know you got bored with us winning by 40. I kind of enjoyed it, but we're not going to do that this year. We're going to have probably, Tony, one of the best RPIs in America because of the people we're playing and where we're playing. We're going to Myrtle Beach. For those of you who have condos in Myrtle Beach, we're going there. There's a lot of West Virginians there. So we're looking forward to that. And then we're going to go to Mohegan Sun, which if we can keep Tony off the crap tables and trying to be a little more attentive to his job, then we should be all right there. So it's going to be a great year, and we're looking forward to it. And Sags, looking forward to having you without a wig, brother.
On that note, ladies and gentlemen, give it up. Nikki Izzo Brown, Dana Holgerson, Mike Carey, Bob Huggins. Thank you, guys. Ooh, good hands, Hugs. Almost had a turnover. Ooh. In just a second, we're going to bring up 4 student athletes and get some of their thoughts. But firstly, I'd like to recognize and have you guys stand, both ladies and gentlemen, former Mountaineer players who are here with us this evening. I saw a bunch. Come on, stand now, please. I saw Quincy Wilson. I saw John Pennington. I saw Brian Lewin. Who am I missing? Everyone, please stand. Avon Coburn. Obviously, Anthony Becht, we'll see in a little bit. Big B. Now, hang on one second, B. So, I love Mountaineer trivia. I love Mountaineer history. I love Mountaineer minutes. So just think about this. Think about the synergy of this moment. So Brian Lewin comes from Brooklyn, New York, plays for the Mountaineers, and West Virginia in the NCAA tournament, 1998, Boise, Idaho. Hugs, it's okay. You lost your chance, buddy. You're done with the mic for tonight. So Hugs, we're playing Cincinnati as the 2 seed. West Virginia's the 10 seed. West Virginia's got the lead. Hugs has a guard that comes down and hits 2 straight threes, DeJuan Baker, and puts West Virginia down. Last seconds of the game, inside of 7 seconds. West Virginia inbounds the ball. Here comes Jared West, and my guy, Brian Lewin, the big man, steps up top. The play call was tap the top of your head. That's a high ball screen. Brian runs out, sets the screen on Ruben Patterson. Ruben, great athlete, leaps high into the air, gets 1 finger on the ball, affects the spin of the ball so it goes up to the backboard like a knuckleball. And if you're a Mountaineer fan of any age whatsoever, you know what the rest of the story is. West Virginia beats Cincinnati, and Brian Lewin forever is part of WVU history. And now, let me tell you something. Let me tell you what really makes the story. That's the basketball side. What does he do now? Number 1, he stayed here in the state of West Virginia. Got advanced degrees here in the state of West Virginia. And today works in Mount Olive Prison, and he counsels inmates and teaches inmates so that they can have a career, a life after their sentences are over. That is what a WVU scholarship has done for him, changing lives. So the guy they call Big B, thank you very much for the screen and for doing what you're doing. Let's meet our student athletes now, ladies and gentlemen. Would you please welcome to our front panel, they were mentioned earlier on, from women's basketball, Tyneese Martin, Mountaineer football player Billy Kinney, basketball player Brandon Napper, and from WVU volleyball, Gianna Gotterba. Come on up. All I'll say in the beginning is I hope you're better behaved than those coaches. I mean, a little surly, I thought. A little surly. How are we? Everyone well? Good? Good? Gianna, how are we?
Great.
Gianna's in my sports broadcasting class at WVU. Anyone looking to hire a sports broadcaster, she's graduating.
Great class.
Thank you. Thank you. Go. There you go. Let's jump in here, guys. You heard and you know and you see what this dinner is all about, and that is funding not only your scholarships to WVU, but all of your teammates and the over 500 student athletes at West Virginia University. Let's talk about you. Gianna's an interesting case study. She comes from the state of California and came here to play volleyball at WVU. So I imagine there's been this amazing learning experience about the state coming from the West Coast here. What has it meant in your career to have that scholarship and to go to school?
I think something I've been very fortunate of because of you guys is not only do we grow as student athletes, but we also grow as people. And without the scholarships that you guys provide, I wouldn't be the person I am today. So thank you for just making me a person that I'd like to grow into.
Yep, absolutely. Tyneese, you come from Atlanta.
And you have been now in this WVU program for several years, and I know last year you wanted to play so badly, but that's going to be happening before we know it. What has it meant to be a member of the Mountaineer family?
I mean, it means a lot to come up a long way from home. I'm 10 hours away from home. You know, I'm in snow, something that I'm not. Oh my!
They don't have that in Atlanta, huh?
Oh, no.
No.
My first year, I had 30 inches of snow. What? I wanted to go home. I'm playing. But, you know, it means a lot. You know, I have tutors now, something I didn't have in high school. I have a 3.2 GPA. I graduated with a 1.9. I barely made it here. So I've made a complete change. It means a lot to have the support that I have now because I didn't have it coming up. So it means a lot. And thank you guys for believing in me and supporting me and my team and my coaches.
Fantastic. Very good. Our two in-state guys, Billy Kinney from University High School, Brandon Napper from South Charleston. So you guys grew up knowing the WV, wearing the WV. Billy, what does it mean to not only have seen it growing up, what's it mean to you to play for the Mountaineers?
Yeah, so for me, my dad played football for WVU back in the 80s, so I was always a fan growing up. And it was really just a dream for me to be able to wear the WV and just represent my state. And, yeah, it just means a lot to me. Just coming from the state, and yeah.
And you've done an absolutely fantastic job in taking that role over. That is one of the most unique positions, I would say, in the sport of football, to be back there by yourself, and everyone's eyes are on you. You've done a fantastic job. Mr. Napper, we wanted to see you play this year in that gold and blue. An injury set you aside, but here we go. Javon and Daxter are gone, and here comes the opportunity. You started to practice during the season after the knee injury. You were running the show for the scout team at the end of the season. So you haven't had that full effect of running down that carpet yet, but what's it been like so far?
It's been a great experience. Like you said, being behind Javon Carter and Daxter Miles, them two guys, they led the path for me. Giving me opportunity to learn different things and what not to do, what to do, what pisses the coaches off, what doesn't piss the coaches off. So I learned a lot from them too. So
no hugs, really? Man, what a shocker! That's the first time I've heard of that. What is your first, Brenda, growing up here? What is your first recollection, memory of Mountaineer basketball as a kid growing up? You can put that mic right near your. Who were the first guys you remember? Guards?
The first guys I remember is Jawan Staten. I mean, when I first came up here, started visiting West Virginia, coming up to the camps and everything, he just felt like he was like my older brother. I mean, he took me in, basically told me what to keep working on, and what would make my game better, and how to become a better point guard coming up here to play with Bob Huggins.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Gianna, let's talk about moments. The women's volleyball program continues to build up. What's been your highlight moment of your career?
I think my highlight moment has been, so KU is one of the top teams in the conference, but they all have bad attitudes. They're just a bunch of people that just have great talent, but they're not good teammates to each other. And we beat them our last game of the season on their home court on their senior night. So that, without a doubt, was the best feeling ever. So definitely a highlight of my life.
Well, those are good. Yeah, road wins are absolutely good. Tynice, favorite moment so far?
I would say thus far, my sophomore year when we won the Big 12 championship, that was still a surreal experience for me. We beat the top 25 teams in 3 days and sent Lene Montgomery and Desiree out with a Big 12 win, Coach Carey's first Big 12 win at the school. I mean, we made history, so I think that was the best moment for me.
I would imagine so. And I would also think that you can't stop thinking about what's coming up this season.
Oh, yeah. We have a big recruiting class coming up. I'm excited to get back on the court with Naomi Davenport. That's been a talk of the year. Bianca, we have a lot of people coming in, so I'm excited to get back in the mix.
Feel all good health-wise?
Getting there.
Good, good. Billy, highlight moment. I would imagine here you are, a little kid growing up, Cheat Lake, University High School, go to those games growing up, then you get the opportunity to play. Highlight moment so far?
For me, it was probably earning my scholarship last summer. It just showed me that all my time and effort I put into it had really paid off. And just really, it was kind of surreal. It just seemed like I really, truly made it then.
Yeah, I would think so. So, Brandon, give me a little shout out here as far as what your expectations are for next season. You prepped, you watched this year, you practiced this year. Tell Mountaineer fans what we can expect next season.
West Virginia fans, you'll expect a scoring guard. Next year, we're gonna put the ball in the hole next year, and definitely, Coach Huggins is gonna be on us to defend, and that's what we're gonna do. But we're also gonna put the ball in the hole next year, definitely.
Good deal. That's good, Brandon. But what the Bear also likes to hear is the D word, as in defend. Do you promise to defend?
Yes, sir. Defend.
Do you raise your right hand? Do you promise to press?
Promise to defend.
He will defend. And all Heg says is, he better. Last go round here. Gianna, what would you say to someone, you go back home, West Coast, they say, hey, you went to West Virginia, right? How was that? What do you say to them?
I would say it's better than any college that you go to because there's no other college in the state, and we represent like we're pro team, and we have the support like you guys. So most people actually don't really know too much about West Virginia. It's super annoying, but I let them know that you're missing out.
Right. Tynice, as you said, you're from 10 hours away, and when you do talk to people about West Virginia, what do you tell them?
I tell them that it's the best. I mean, of course, you look at the weather and you're like, oh, my God, but I mean, you're in the mountains, but I love it. I mean, the people, I can go on Walmart and everybody knows who you are, not just me, but, everybody. So the support system is better up here. Just like she said, we don't have to compete with pro team. So we are the pro team in West Virginia, and I think that's the luxury of it because every school doesn't have that, and every school doesn't have loyal fans that we have. So I think that's the biggest peak of it all.
Very good, thanks. Billy, what about you? I would imagine it's an easy sell having grown up here.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the people around here kind of knew who I was from Morgantown, but just having the entire state of West Virginia behind you, just really helps motivate us to go out and play hard and win every day.
Brandon, inside the Coliseum when it gets hyped up, as good as you had hoped it to be?
Oh, yeah. First time ever experiencing that was very first game of the season. We played, I think it was, I forgot what team we played, but it's just knowing that, having the fans come out and just to support us and knowing that we're representing the state and not just our school, our program, it's a great feeling. I mean, just having them just coming out there, just play our game and giving the fans a show.
We really look forward to it. Gianna, Brandon, Billy, Tynice, thank you guys very much. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Let's hear it for them, folks. First turnover of the night. Well, earlier on, and we've been talking about it throughout the course of the night, you plant seeds and you watch young people grow into adults, and it's oftentimes great fun to watch because oftentimes those that come in perhaps a little unheralded sometimes produce the biggest crop. And our guest speaker this evening would fall into that category. If you follow Mountaineer athletics through the years, you know that West Virginia University has had an absolutely unbelievable ability to recruit players that perhaps other schools looked over and then develop those players. That's what WVU athletics is. We don't have five-star players running around our state. Many of the schools that we play do. WVU doesn't, so West Virginia develops. And our guest speaker this evening was one of those players who developed, who WVU's football coaches spotted in high school as a skinny, lanky kid and brought him to WVU, where he absolutely blossomed, both physically and mentally. And by the time his career at West Virginia was over, he was one of the most sought-after players in all of college football. And he did not disappoint in the National Football League, where he became a longtime veteran player. Today, he runs his own business. He's a broadcaster as well. Would you please welcome Mountaineer Anthony Becht.
Appreciate that, Tony. He did mention the business side. I got involved with a men's skincare and shave line. It's actually called Anthony's. Check it out, anthonys.com. But he's been heckling me because give me some product, send me some product. I hear him on the statewide radio show. He's texting me, and I finally sent it to him. So it's been about 30 days, Tony. You look about 10, 15 years younger. So Shane, when he comes to the table and he shows you before and after, when it's contract renegotiations, that he'll probably be counting on that to get that new deal done. So get ready for that one, right? Thank you for that introduction. I appreciate it. And I thank everyone for allowing me to come today. You know, it's a couple years I've been asked to do this, and my schedule hasn't been open for me to come to Charleston, but I'm very pleased to be here. As soon as I walk through the door, I see a lot of familiar faces, familiar classmates from the Charleston area, coaches and friends and the fans that are here, and it just kind of triggers a lot of memories, not only on the field, but socially and in the classroom. And it's just really great to be back and be at this event tonight, because it is a special event, and it does mean a lot to me, because like Tony said, when you say the word scholarship, this is all I had. I had no other scholarships to play in college football at any division level except West Virginia. I'm actually quite shocked that Don Nealon gave me one, to be quite honest with you. Now, not to shy away from my skill set, because listen, I was all Philadelphia, all county, all that stuff, all Philadelphia Catholic League, but I was skinny. The stories you hear, it is what it was. I was about 6'4.5", 185 pounds my senior year. I played tight end. That's like the size, and no disrespect, of a punter maybe now, right? So to get that chance, to me, I knew I could do it, but I hadn't blossomed, and I knew I had something more to offer. The frame was there. I just needed someone to believe, someone to give me that chance. And my whole goal my senior year and junior year as I played was to get a scholarship. That's all I wanted to do. I wanted to surprise my parents with the opportunity to earn a scholarship somewhere so they didn't have to pay for my college. That was my number one goal. Didn't worry about playing, wasn't worried about, All-American, or they called us blue chippers. It's stars now. That's what they label the kids as. But I didn't care where it was. I just wanted the scholarship, and I got one. I had no idea about West Virginia. Didn't know anything about them. I just knew they were in the Big East, and they were Division I. But as I stepped off that plane my first year and started to meet the people and play in the games and the coaching staff and the academic staff, I knew it was special. From the first day, I remember stepping in the office of Coach Don Nealon. I took a visit. It was supposed to be a weekend visit. It was only one day because it was snowing out, single lane all the way down from the Pittsburgh airport to Morgantown. I didn't quite know what to expect. There was about a week or 10 days till signing day. I had no scholarships. Coach Kurlavich had seen me, who was my recruit. If you know Coach Kurlavich, you know that was a great experience visiting me in Philadelphia. But I didn't know what to expect. And when I sat down that Sunday morning before I left and Coach Nealon brought me into his office, I don't think he knew what to expect either. He basically told me the tight end that they had been looking at ended up going somewhere else, and a scholarship opened up. And he wasn't sure what I'd bring to the table. He's like, Tony, you got a long way to go. You got to work. You got to get in the gym. You know, you're 185 pounds. I lied, actually. I told him I was 210 at the time, which wasn't impressive either. But anything to get in the door. And he offered me a scholarship, and I just was taken back. And it was the only one I got. And I looked at that as an opportunity of a lifetime. And for me, the first thing that came to my mind is I got that scholarship, and I'm going to get my education paid for. And I'm going to become something because of it. And that's all I had in my mindset. Everything else, football, when I got to school, I'd worry about that. And when I came here, you know, it was tough. I was a skinny kid. I redshirted my first year. You know, I think we all remember Canute Curtis, All-American consensus defensive end. He kicked my ass every single day in practice. I was questioning whether I could play at this level. But I knew I was never going to let that happen to me again. Luckily, he graduated, number one. And on a side note, I played, when I got into the league, we played Cincinnati, I think my second year, and asked him if you ever bump into him, what happened in that game. So I got him back later on in the league. Opportunities were given to me. It just seemed strategic all the way through. And through those years that I was at West Virginia, I finally got the keys to the car my last 2 years, my junior, senior year. Wasn't thinking about the NFL. All of a sudden, my name's in magazines. But one thing was clear in my mind. Someone endowed a scholarship to me, and I have to live up to that obligation. My education was important to me. I had a plan. I wanted to graduate that December, my senior year, so that anything else I wanted to try to accomplish moving forward into that spring, my academics were taken care of. And I had that diploma, and I got that. I had a marketing degree. I wanted to get something in the business field because I felt like working with people, opening up your mind, you know, that's something that moving forward is going to be something that hopefully helps me in the courses of my career moving forward. I didn't know what football was going to bring me. And then I get drafted, first round, 185 pounds, and I get drafted in the first round of the NFL. Let's fast forward 12 years because that doesn't define what I wanted to be as a person. It started with that scholarship. How do you change lives? How do I change lives? What did I do over the time span that I left school, played in the league? How do you change lives? Started a football camp 13 years ago. My goal was to touch as many kids as possible, not just to teach them the game of football, but empower them, life skills. Brought hundreds of NFL players to these camps. Kids would meet Larry Fitzgerald, Torrey Holt, Chad Pennington, Quincy Wilson, some of the stars of West Virginia when we had them in Clarksburg, and learn from them outside of the game of football. Teach them what these kids could accomplish and they could do. Some of the greatest things in my life that were accomplished were by other people's accomplishments. Young students that came to my camp in the second and third grade, and now they're seniors and juniors at the high school that I grew up in Philly, coming up to me and say, hey, I don't know if you remember me, but I came to your camp all the way through grade school, starting in second grade, and you made me love the game of football, you made me work hard in school, and now I got a full scholarship academically to go to a college, go to a university, and also play the game of football. Might not have been a big school, but I touched that person. How can I touch people? How can you touch people? All of you in this room today have done something to help these student athletes that are sitting at this table, including myself, take it to the next level. Playing the sport of football is outstanding. I do it all over. I wish I had more years in me, but it always comes to an end. It may come to an end when you're a senior. It may come to an end when you play in the league for 12 years, but it will end. And what do you fall back on? You fall back on your education, the scholarship that I got. I wasn't sure what I was going to do after football. I took a year off. Got a little bored, you know, when you're home. My wife's there, a lot of chores were done, a lot of things that I wasn't used to doing, I had to do. And I went back to how I groomed myself as a student. I said, what else can I bring to the table? So I got into broadcasting. Why not? Tony always said I spoke well, so let me dive into it and see how it goes. And I started from the bottom. Played 12 years in the NFL, know a lot of people know me, but I wasn't a Pro Bowler. Close, but I wasn't a Pro Bowler. So I had to work from the bottom, and that was okay, because I had to learn how to rewire what I learned that got me to that point as a great football player, a great student, and recharge that and figure out how I could do it again to be great at something else. And I've been doing that for 6 years. Been fortunate enough to call 3 West Virginia games, got to come back to Mountaineer Field last year and call the Texas game. It's been awesome. All because of that scholarship. You all have a chance to touch somebody's life. You may not get the credit for it. You may not know who your scholarship's endowed to. But when you open up that wallet and you write that check, or you get out your credit card, or you give that cash, you're changing somebody's life. I want to ask all the student athletes that are here to stand up real quick. Stand up, guys, girls, everybody that's in here. Keep standing. Now, before I have them sit, I want to call 2 guys out because there's a relationship here. Wesco, I went up and talked to him today. Now, he plays tight end, and I asked him how spring ball. I always like to ask the tight ends how many balls they're getting during the, spring ball and stuff, so I know kind of where my records sit and stuff like that. So he says he's getting a lot more catches in practice. So listen, as long as you have about 70 on the season, my record's safe, and you're going to have a great year. So, Coach, keep it under 70, 75 catches this year. And Sags, listen, you don't follow me on Twitter for some reason, but I called you out during the NCAA tournament. This basketball thing's cool, but I think I can make a great tight end out of you when you're done playing. So make that decision. I'm there for you. And click follow, all right? Follow me on Twitter. I'm asking you to do that for me. These student athletes right here, they're the ones that are going to change the world. They all have goals. They love to play professionally when they're done. Odds are they won't. Doctors, lawyers, future politicians, engineers, teachers, coaches. They're all going to be something. You're not defined because you didn't make the pros or you didn't get that chance. You're defined on what you want to be moving forward, and that's up to you. For the student athletes, I leave you with 2 things. You only have one name. That's all you get. It's my biggest fear in life. Protecting the name that my mom gave me, my dad gave me, that my family has, that my kids have. It's hard. It's hard to do right. It's easy to do wrong. I've been through it. I've been through it all. You only get one name. Utilize that name. It's the only one you get. Continue to work hard and do the things academically so you have that fallback in place. I hope you all play professionally, do anything you want to do, and play for many years, but I'm realistic as well. There's a lot of great things you can do out there. A lot of my favorite teammates, some of my favorite players that I played with, did not play professionally. They're some of the smartest people I know, and I lean on a lot of them for the second phase of my life. And lastly, I'll leave you with this. This is the future of the school. They're going to carry this on when they leave. Whatever you were thinking about doing financially, or whatever you've done, and that mindset you had before you came here, think deep about how you can touch and change these student athletes' lives. And sometimes, like I said, without recognition. Because I think that's the best donation to life, when nobody knows. So I wish you guys luck. I appreciate the time you've given me to come up here. I love every one of you, all the cheering, all the autographs. I truly cherish the moments that I have. I married a West Virginia gal, so I'll always be attached to the state. And I thank every one of these coaches as well that are here today. I feel like I have a connection. Coach Danny, you've opened up your doors to me and allowed me to come through the program and be a part of, when I'm in town to do the things I do. Coach Hugs, your mentality that you show your players, that toughness, that lunch pail mentality, put your head down, that's what I do. That's what got me to where I am today. Coach Carey, you're from my wife's hometown, so we have a direct connection there. And even Coach Izzo Brown, I think you started in 95, 96, so we kind of came in together. And I've been retweeting a lot of your stuff too, so I'm proud of the success you had. And all the other coaches. Coach Flynn, congratulations. And I just wish everybody great success. I'm a huge fan. I pump us up when I can.